Serge, Joel are up now, and Piyush is up after that. Hopefully you're here somewhere.
I guess I might as well start talking while I'm waiting. Oh, there we go. This is a work in progress that we're doing, and so we're giving a sneak preview. Everyone probably is aware that most mobile devices are broadcasting lots of identifiers that are used for online tracking. Privacy laws explicitly classify these device identifiers as PII, so here's an example from the ICO's page, where here in the EU specifically says advertising IDs are PII. It's consistent in the US. Here's an excerpt from CCPA explicitly saying device identifiers are personal data. Here's federal law, COPPA, which also classifies device identifiers as personal data. And yet, after getting sued, many companies are saying in court that this data is not PII because they only identify devices and not people. They also claim that device identifiers are somehow anonymous or de-identified data, and that they were also collected with consent. So here's an example of Google making an argument in court claiming that advertising identifiers are pseudonymous, device-specific strings of characters that are neither tied to a user's identity nor used to personally identify a user. Here's another claim being made in court that basically that email addresses can be anonymized by hashing them. Here's another one. This is Adobe making the claim that basically they receive device serial numbers, but that's not identifiable data because they're hashed and hashes cannot be reversed. Which is interesting because meanwhile their marketing materials show how they map device identifiers with ad IDs, with email addresses, and anonymous IDs. But they're not the only one. So here's another data broker that claims to identify real people in any platform, anywhere along the customer journey, all while respecting privacy. So they've mapped 5 billion hashed email addresses to almost 10 billion mobile ad IDs, which is then mapped to almost 900 million actual names. But this is all privacy preserving. Marketplaces exist specifically to use these identifiers to re-identify people. So here's a list. This is from DataRaid, which is basically eBay for data brokers. These are different data sets being sold that map mobile ad IDs to other identifiers, including hashed email addresses. So we obtain about 6 million rows from data brokers. But to preserve their privacy, we've hashed the names. In all cases, the mobile ad IDs were paired with hashed email addresses as well as other identifiers, and the data brokers were all making two claims. One is that this data is either anonymous or de-identified and was collected with consent.
And so if you've never heard of a HEM before, there's many definitions you can find on the web. Many people are making claims that they are totally anonymous, wonderfully anonymous, a way of tracking users individually in a post-third-party cookie world. It's encrypted, completely anonymous, and cannot be reversed. And so I went to the Merriam-Webster dictionary the other day and entered in my email address to sign up for the word of the day and saw my hash of it being sent to 2 different advertisers quite promptly. And if you're interested in the Mexican-inspired food of Taco Bell, you offer the opportunity to enter your phone number. And if you do, you'll find that the hash of the phone number is being sent to Facebook. The hash of a phone number. There are 10 billion North American phone numbers. And it's not the only thing that Facebook demands that you hash. They require hashing of that. They also require that you hash your birth year, your birth month, and your birth date. Also, your gender. It requires either the letter M or the letter F. There's only 2, but it has to be hashed because therefore it cannot be reversed, as they make a point of saying at the top. It's a cryptographic security method which turns information into non-reversible codes. The thing is, they don't actually believe this because when it's to their convenience, when they're suing other companies that were hashing information and they're not a fan of that, they go out of their way to say it's not sufficient to simply hash this, and they're willing to say this opposite opinion when it suits their advantage. Now, 10 years ago or 12 years ago, the FTC rhetorically asked, does hashing make data anonymous? And the answer was no, it does not make magically anonymous. And so of the data that we obtain from these data brokers, we found that 88% of them were immediately reversible from breach data. We didn't actually manually enter them onto this website, but we just sent all the hems to Troy, and he said, it's an 88% match rate on my data. But the thing is, you don't actually need to get breach data for this to work. Email addresses are memorable and easy to recall. So simply put, we built a tool called Rainbow Warrior to define different formats of email addresses, like firstname.lastname@gmail.com. And with a few simple rainbow tables, we were able to get more than half of the emails unhashed from our data set. I don't know how much time we have. Do we have a minute still? Oh, good. So Gravatar is an interesting case study on its own. This is a website, you give it the hash of your email address, and it gives you back your icon and other metadata associated. It's an API to access personal information that you choose to put there, or in some cases, ask, why do I have a Gravatar account if I don't remember creating one? Answer is something involving WordPress. But I noticed that in Bitbucket, it was sending my hashed email to them just to get an icon which wasn't there. And so in many websites that use this as a service, you're sending all of the usernames hashed to the service and getting back empty codes because they're not actually users of Gravatar, but you're still, as a result, leaking the email addresses. So after, oh yeah, that's you.
So the next step, and this is the ongoing part, we've after we re-identified all of these people, we started emailing them to take our survey, to ask how they feel about all this and what's their recollection of having granted consent. This is ongoing. We don't actually have responses yet, but anyway, throughout this project, we've been referring to this as the Bullshit Anonymity Project, but upon reflection, I realized that that's an inartful term. I highly recommended this book by Harry Frankfurt on bullshit. He defines bullshit as I'll just read the passage. The bullshitter does not reject the authority of truth as the liar does and oppose himself to it. He pays no attention to it at all. One who is concerned to report or to conceal the facts assumes that there are indeed facts that are in some way both determinate and knowable. His interest in telling the truth or in lying presupposes that there is a difference between getting things wrong and getting them right, and that it is at least occasionally possible to tell the difference. And so these claims are not, in fact, bullshit. These are lies. And the famous fascist Plato in the Republic wrote that, in fact, the rulers, it is the duty of the rulers to tell lies to the subjects for their own good. It is the business of the rulers of the city, if it is anybody's, to tell lies, deceiving both its enemies and its own citizens for the benefits of the city, and no one else must touch this privilege. And so we argue that this is an example of the Platonic Nobel lie. To quote from the working paper, those making claims of anonymity and consent have a very strong vested interest in their claims being true. Indeed, because this data is sold specifically for the purpose of re-identifying individuals, while at the same time, privacy laws in many jurisdictions now require either consent or anonymity to legally traffic it, industry has adopted a noble lie. The lie is demonstrably and definitionally untrue, yet an industry's profitability depends on that lie being believed by courts, policymakers, and regulators. And I'll leave it at that.